This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so here we go. You have a good New Year's? You do anything? You stay at home?
I stayed at home. I didn't go out. I just kicked it with family and friends. That's it. That's it.
Okay. So now, where are you located at now? I was trying to look and
I'm located in Gulfport, Mississippi.
okay, okay, all right. So family and friends, did you stay up late? I was struggling, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was wanting to
Man,
go to bed
I
at
was
like 10:30.
I stayed up till right at 12, and then I was like, yeah, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, man. I'm not as spry as I used to be in my old age.
I think for me it's more of like normally I'm in church for New
Hmm.
Year's, like every year, and so I watched our virtual church session that we had, and I
Okay.
was just kind of like, okay. Like it was, it's been adjusting to that. Like it was just like, man, I'm normally in church right now, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
partying, going out to I never really, did that for New Year's. I always was in church because I wanted to start the year off correct.
Right. Okay. Well, good deal. So, I appreciate you doing this, especially somewhat early in the morning. Taking the time out of your
I
day to kind of talk to me.
It's awesome. Like, look, I'm a morning person. So if I have something to do, I like to get it done as early as possible. Because when it get late in the day, whole bunch of things come up. Like if I got a meeting at 2, somebody come up at 10. Now let me schedule this in the beginning so I can get it done.
Yeah. No, I understand completely. I understand completely. So let me go ahead and start my little intro that I normally do before these interviews to kind of set the stage. Um, hey guys, what's going on? This is Pat Brown. I'm a financial advisor in Lawrence, Kansas with Edmonds Duncan Investment Advisors. Played football for the University of Kansas a number of years ago, really, really long time ago. Played outside linebacker. Was a 3-year starter, team captain towards my senior year. Enjoyed my time immensely at the University of Kansas, and met a lot of great people, and became very passionate about financial literacy for student athletes, which led me down this path to interviewing former student athletes with the hopes that current student athletes will learn from the successes and failures to make better decisions later on in life. So I think if we can help them form those habits earlier, they'll be better off later on down the road. The other thing I like to do is just give the definition of financial literacy real quick, which is the possession of a set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. The reason I do that is because I'm always under the impression a lot of our student athletes are under the impression that financial literacy has a bad meaning to it, that they're not bright or that they're not smart. And so I always liken it to no different than being a student athlete. You have to obviously create those habits, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, tennis, baseball. Create those habits so you become a better player. So the same thing's true with financial literacy. All you're doing is creating those habits earlier so that you become a better student of financial matters. So later on down the road, once you get out of school, you have a little bit more of an advantage versus if you didn't learn those school skills. So I want to introduce my man Bryant Lavender. Am I pronouncing that name correctly? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I
Yes.
came across him on LinkedIn, and just very, very impressive brother. Has wrote a number of books, which we'll kind of dive into as well. And just, I kind of did a little cyber stalking on you, and I think what's this at the Success Women's Conference? I read this bio or got this bio. Bryant Lavender is a native of Gulfport, Mississippi. Received his education at Gulfport High School in 2009. He then went on to college at the University of South Alabama on an athletic scholarship, playing football for the Jaguars for 5 years. His position, wide receiver. Bryant also graduated with a degree in exercise science. And then you had published your first book, Mind Under Pigskin, in the summer of 2014. Um, so, man, it's a pleasure to have you on. And like I said, we'll kind of get into your later on some of the other books and how some of the guys can kind of go in and find those tools. So, welcome, 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 welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. It was really a surprise. When you messaged me, I was like, sure. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
because like, and I saw what you were doing. The financial literacy thing is really important. I think it will. You said those disciplines that you need to have, like you do when you play a sport, they are transferable to your finances, and if you stick to the plan, then you will see success. And not everything is you know, cut, black and white, just like sport.
Right.
Sometimes it's not black and white, but if you have a plan, like the Bible says, make a plan, write it down so that people can run with it. And if you make your plan, you can run with the plan that you have. And when something happens that you didn't expect, make adjustments at halftime. So
Yep.
it's
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So to kind of dive into it, man, your first years in college, your freshman year, your sophomore year, did anybody ever talk to you about anything dealing with credit cards to budgeting to savings, anything of that nature?
Well, see, I was fortunate because my mom, she talked about, saving, you always got to have a checking in the savings, and
Awesome.
she always said, well, okay, you got to put some money in your savings, don't touch it. And so she gave us a little bit, but I was also fortunate because my pastor's wife, she is a mathematician. Like, she was my math teacher in high school, and when I tell you budget, like, she has a black book of every year of the budget. And so being connected to them, they always pushed financial literacy. Like, hey, she even taught, like, we had like conferences where she would teach, like, this is what you got to do, this is what you got to put away if you're trying to
Awesome.
get this. Like, let's say if you want to save for clothes, then when your friends, you can't buy stuff like that.
Yep.
So I was fortunate in high school to have some sort of an idea as far as financial literacy. Like, I heard the terms, but as far as like
Uh-huh.
defining terms, I was like, man, I'm 16, 15, man, all right, I hear it. It wasn't like something that was big, but I did know that if I spent more money than I made or that I had coming in, then I wouldn't have money. I knew that. And
Yeah.
so it really wasn't until my freshman year in college when I got my first refund check, and then I got my graduation money that people had gave me when I was going off to college. But it
Sure.
wasn't until I had to start my own bank account, in my name, because my
Yeah.
mom was like, I got Hancock, you could transfer it, but they didn't have Hancock in Mobile. All they had was Regions. And
Yeah.
so when I went I had to do it by myself. Like, I had to go in there, say I wanted a bank account, how to set it up. You got to have a deposit of $50. At the time, it was $50. You need $50 to start it. And I'm like, oh, dang, okay. So it was like one of those things. And so I got my first refund check, and then they gave us, at the time, the calf wasn't built yet at South Alabama because they were building a new calf.
Uh-huh.
And the first year that they had football, so like we were like the first phase of athlete. Yeah, so I was
Wow.
part of the first program, a part of the first team at the University of South Alabama. So I like a lot of the things like stand over in the summertime. A lot of people didn't do it, and if they did, they were like commuters. And
Yeah.
so they gave us like a stipend to eat with because the calf was closed in the summer. So it was like, okay, I gotta buy food for the summer, and it was like wow. So at the same time, I had got the most money I had ever seen in my lifetime, but now it's
Right.
say, hey, okay, now you gotta manage it because you don't get another check, for the whole summer. So they gave us a lump sum for the whole summer
Right.
that was equivalent to the
The
maximum
monthly.
amount of, yeah, for what it would cost for the calf if it was open. Like, they gave us that amount
Oh,
of money for the, yeah. So I think it was like, so I got my refund check was like 1,500, I think. And then my stipend for food was like 17. So I got, almost $3,000. You know what I'm saying? Like,
now manage
okay,
it. Yeah.
yeah, man, yeah. And so, I saw some of my teammates. They went to the mall. They what I'm saying, bought everything, got tattoos,
Oh man.
I just remember that, what I'm saying, and I was like, man. And but like I said, my mom and my pastor's wife, my first lady, like, they really kind of like helped me, because I was like, well, I got all this money. The first thing I did was take out my tithes, because I knew, I always took that out, off top. And
Yeah.
So with that being said, like I had the 90% of the money that I had left. I was like, okay, what do I do with it? And so my mom was like, all right, you need to buy some food. She was like, look at the prices, cause and so it was like I had to, like I actually I had a jump start, I had an idea, but I actually had to put it to use what I already knew, or what the
You
little
have
bit
to
that I did.
execute.
Yeah, and execute. Yes, and execute. And so it really taught me how to save. It taught me how to be frugal. Oh my goodness.
I know
It
that's
taught me
right.
that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome because it sounds like you had somewhat of a foundation that a lot of guys typically don't, because a lot of parents don't necessarily get in that detail. Like you said, pastor's wife kind of helped out a great deal as well. So that's awesome.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So as far as some of the decisions you made in college, was it kind of a trial and error type thing? Whether it's spending too much one week and whether it's food or what have you, and then not having
Uh,
enough later on.
well, yeah, it was actually, because it was like, okay, I need to buy this. So what it was I bought like a surplus amount of food, and I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I got this amount of food, so I need this needs to hold me until, you know, for however long, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever.
Mhm.
And so I was in the place where I was like, man, I needed some new clothes. All my clothes was like, we were just phasing out of that big baggy era, baggy
Yeah.
clothes. I needed to get clothes that fit,
Right.
and so we would, like, every time, I might go to the store, and we would go to the clearance rack. So my friends and I, Corey Walden and Ellis Hill, we would all go shopping together, and we would, like, it was almost like we would help each other out, as far as like, we would buy something that everybody ate, and we would like trade some stuff, and stuff like that. And so
That's
we
smart.
really us yeah, we really were like a group. Like, we helped each other out so much. And so, like, we would go shopping together, and they'd be like, hey man, don't buy that, that's too much money now. We would help each other, each other accountable. And it was really fun. Like, people say, man, I don't need nobody. No, like, you need people to help you keep your goal, keep focused. And so,
Keep you
man,
accountable. Absolutely.
it was a blessing to have both of them, as I, went through college. Like, they helped a lot.
Awesome. Awesome. So then, as you look back, then what were some of your worst financial decisions, and then what were some of your best?
um some of my worst financial decisions was the late night going to Waffle House. um you know just and then, yeah, like, I really, like I said, they taught me how to be frugal. It taught me how to use the
Mhm.
calf. So, like, that was like probably eating out just a little bit too much, knowing like, okay,
Yeah.
I shouldn't eat out, but, well, I'm here, I might as well, you know what I mean? And so it was like that, like, I have it, so I might as well use it, kind of
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
And so those, like, just those late nights are, really knowing you need to, you don't need to go out to eat, to spend no money, and then, everybody buying, these big meals, and you like, man, uh buy this meal, you know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
it was like those, like, things, like doing, like, going out, and like, okay, I know I'm not gonna have money for the next week. Like, let's say my parents were sending me money, and I got these $50, but I need this $50 to make this shake, to make this work. I'm gonna go spend 42 of it at a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time for
Mhm.
stuff. I can't do that. Flex for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. And so like, that was kind of the thing. Like, I was in the, constant pool. Like, do I spend this money or do I not? Like, and then it was like, what, am I keeping myself from at least having fun? At least, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was like trying to find a balance of when can I spend, and when I can't spend or cannot spend. And so,
Right.
um some of my best financial things was when I would just tell people, nah, I'm not doing that, and I would
Yep.
have money to go do stuff, like, because when I came home, I would come home, and I would have a little bit of money to go eat with my friends, just because it was just left over, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Um, and so, like I said, like, it was just those things where I was like, I had in a position where I could, like, help somebody. Like, if Ellis or Corey had spent too much money, I'd be like, oh man, I got a couple extra dollars. Here you go. You know,
Mhm.
and I help them. We would help each other. So it was kind of like that. Like I said, we really, three of us, we really kept each other accountable. So we weren't like broke, or like
Yeah.
just like, man, I don't have any money. It was more of like, do I want to spend this money? You know what I mean? And
So
so
you touched on something that some of the other guys that I've interviewed really hadn't, I guess, mentioned is just that ability to have friends that hold you accountable, and that ability to kind of have friends that kind of hold you down, as far as, like you said, if you need a couple of dollars, they're there for you, and vice versa. So that's I think it's a nice little takeaway for, hopefully some of the guys that are listening to this. So that's
oh,
important.
what
I
let me
appreciate
add a
you saying
point to
that.
that. Let me
Yeah.
add a point to that. Make sure that they are your friends because like for real, but like make sure that a lot of times people want to help, and anytime that you help, you got to understand you can't do it with an expectation that you'll receive your
Right.
you receive it back from that particular person. You might receive it from someone else. So uh make sure that when you do give to the to whoever it is, your friends or somebody, that it's not because you expect them to pay you back, but you doing it out of love. And when
Yeah.
you do it out of love, you will see a return 30, 60, 100 fold.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. That's good. That's good. Um, Looking back on college now, what do you wish you had done different in regards to dealing with your money?
Oh man, looking back at college, I'm I might have invested. I
Hmm.
might have I should have invested.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, Growing up, my mom talked about stocks and bonds growing up,
Really? Okay.
and yeah, she said she had some stocks and bonds, but it wasn't like a taboo. It was more of like, okay, stocks and bonds, what is that? Stocks is
Yeah.
having portion of the company that you own. All right. And I was like, okay, all right, bonds is like having something put away that, eventually it will, eh, you know, exponentially grow in amount so you can sell it back for however many, you know what I mean? So I was
Yeah.
like, man, so I knew about it, but nobody really like just sat down and was like, okay, invest in this, invest in that, you need to do this, do that. So I didn't have anyone really talk about investments, like invest, you know what I mean? I hear people say invest in your future, but like how exactly do I do that with money? You know,
Right.
know how to invest in my future with sports, work
Right.
out, do the all that stuff, but how do I transfer that into this? And so I probably would have took some of that extra cash that I had and invested it back
Yeah.
into something, something that's like amazingly big now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. I would invest or bought some stock in some stuff. That's what I, wish I would have did back then.
Okay. Yeah. And that's again, some of these interviews I found that a lot of guys are thinking that same thing. Had they had some type of exposure to whether it's stocks or mutual funds or, like I said, bonds. The fact that your mom, mentioned that to you that's great, because it at least it exposes you. And
Hmm.
a lot of guys, parents, they don't even have that exposure. They're not even thinking, oh, well, there's such thing as an investment. There's such thing as a bond or a mutual fund. So that's great that your mom at least, knew what that stuff was. It kind of at least give you a taste of it somewhat. Um, so then, how have the habits that you formed in college affected life after college, or have they? Because it sounds
Oh
like you're
man,
pretty grounded
it's
and
well, yeah. So it just so only thing they did, like, so in college there was like, okay, I need this and this, but when I went to play arena ball down in Tampa
hmm
was when it really took, like, it really grew or stretched me. What
yeah,
I learned in college really like it really prepared me for that, because people think when you go play pro ball, there's a lot of different levels. You got the NFL, obviously, is the biggest one, then you have the CFL, and then it's the arena, and then the spring league, and all those kind of things, right? And so when I came out, I remember when they had the arena football in Mississippi. We had the Mississippi Fire Dogs,
yeah,
and so, but I didn't know that people got paid for that. I thought that was just something that people did, you know what I mean? And so
yeah.
when I had the opportunity to go into camp with the Tampa Bay Storm down in Tampa, Florida, to play, I was like, man. And so I realized that the rules and regulations as far as like how they pay players or practice squad players is different. So I got opportunity to go, on the practice squad for the Tampa Bay Storm. And so only thing they did was pay for my meals, like to eat with, and
Oh,
room and
sure.
board. So my room and board and meals. So that was like my payment for being on the practice squad. But like as far as like extra money, man, I had to pick lean on something else, and at that time, you know, I had released my book. I had just my book had been almost a year released, and I released my second book, Sweet Asylum, you know, in 2015. And so like that, you know, as a residual income come, you know, based on the books bought that per month. But I needed something else. And so like people don't, you know, I just was like, man, so I left my car here in Gulfport, and then I was like, man, I can't get around to get, I'm like, man, so I'm just trying to save. I'm like, man, my bank account going down. And so like for real, like I had to consolidate, like what did I really need, you know?
Yeah.
And so we had so they released me, and I had like a 3-week break, and they was like, we're gonna bring you back, don't worry, it's just the stipulation that we have to do. Is like a rule and regulation thing. And so you let me go 3 weeks later, and I was like, all right. So what I did was I came home, and I was like, man, I had did some odd jobs or whatever, kept working out, got some money. I was like, man, I'm bringing my car and I'm bringing my clippers because people need a haircut, you know. And so
Right.
so like I
Smart.
drove back down with my car so that I could move. But I was like, you know, and then I started cutting hair. Like I've been cutting my own hair since I was in middle school. And so like everybody will always say, lad, you got a fresh line. Who cut your hair? I was like, man, I do, you know. And so I started charging like $5, get whatever you want, you know, because all I wanted was gas money, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so they would take like 7, 10. And so what I would do is I would take that money and do what I needed to do with it. You know, they would come every week, every other week, you know what I'm saying? So it was like a revolving door. So what it
Yeah.
taught me was like, to squeeze my dollar to maximize it. And then eventually I actually got on with I used my degree. I got on with hybrid sports performance, and I started training clients. And so, and then that was like when everything kind of exploded. And so like it was like, oh wow, oh my goodness, you know. So it was just like I had to do that to get to the point I was. But I cherished. I remember, you know what I'm saying, all my friends that like helped me. You know, a big part of, like, again, 2 other friends that I met while I was there was Julius Gregory, that went to Shaw University, and Carl Johnson that played at Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they were like, Lav, I got you, don't worry. You know, they were like the 2 people that like kind of took me under their wing. You know, I was a rookie coming in, and you know, they had been exposed to like Carl played with the New Orleans with the Saints for like 3 years, and then he got signed with Tampa with the Storm, and then Jew had got a look from the Broncos, and then he had been playing at the lower level arena teams, and then he got, you know, signed at the AFL level, which is the top level in arena. And so I was there. It was like, bro, you lucky, you went straight to the top level as a practice squad player. And I was like, man, I'm just trying to play, you know. But they
Right.
took me under the wings. If I needed something extra, you know, here, man, I got the food, don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? But like, nah, man, you know. So they like I said, they really took it. Like it was like, again, I helped, you know.
Yeah.
And so it just taught me to be genuine, to understand what you're doing,
Yeah.
and to not live above my means, you know, not
Yeah.
of what I currently have. Yeah, you can be fighting to get the means that you want, but while you're fighting for the means that you want, stay in the means you got. Like, other people may talk about you, but they won't be talking about you when you finally get to the means that you want to get to. They're gonna be needing your help, and you got to, you know. And so with that being said, like I you know, everything kind of like came together, and I was able to come up with you know, a little bit of money to be able to do some things and get a job and start getting, you know, income coming in on top of the book stuff that I was doing. So it was great.
That's awesome. Um, so what are some of the pitfalls you hope that your story could prevent from young student athletes out there? So if you could look
Uh,
back for some of the young guys that are coming up, you know, what would you say to them? Since you're an old man
uh,
now. Right?
no, I'm just ripe. I'm not old. I'm just ripe. I'm ripe
You're
for the
right.
picking. But
You're
what
right.
I
My
would
bad.
say,
I'm an old man.
what I would say is, you don't have to flex. The biggest flex is understanding who you are and what you have, and understand where you're going. Uh, get in position, put yourself in position to be successful financially, athletically, mentally, and spiritually. Put yourself in position to be successful. So when your friends, it's okay to say no to your friends sometimes. Hey man,
Yeah.
we finna go down here, whatever. How much? It's okay to ask how much it costs. You know, oh man, don't worry
Right.
about that. You'll get it back. No, I need to know how much it costs, because if it's not in my budget, I can't do it. You know.
I like it.
And
Yeah.
so don't be ashamed to ask somebody how much it costs, or tell somebody, no, I don't have it. Because if they're your friend, one or two things are gonna happen. One, they will understand.
Hmm.
And two, they'll be like, don't worry about it, man. I got you. I got a couple extra dollars. Come on, I want you to enjoy this time. You deserve, you work too hard. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
those are the things that I learned in college and especially when I was playing professionally. Like if they're genuine, if they genuinely your friend, they'll help you out, you know?
Yeah. No, that's man, that's well said. Learn to say no. Um, so okay, so we're bonus questions now, almost to the
Okay.
end. And you had already touched on this as far as having the opportunity to go to the league and so forth. Actually touched on a lot of it, just how the money had changes. So um, I guess with the arena ball and so forth, everything after that, the book sales, is it still just a matter of just managing like you've always managed money, or just budgeting?
Uh,
Because it sounds like you really were able to carry that in. You know,
yes, like I said, it transferred over to my me becoming a paid speaker, and more book sales and budgeting how I want to do the projects for my next well, how I did my next couple of book projects, and how I meant like how I wanted to do it. I think one of the hardest things was like really wondering like, dang, okay, I want to do this, but it costs this amount of money. So let me find the right person that'll do it how I want it done,
right,
either on a lesser scale or just go ahead and pay for the money. Like I said before, it's okay to chase uh higher means, but right now you got to understand your means. So as you chase your higher means, if you're gonna do that, set up the payment plan. It's okay to set the payment plan up.
okay,
It's okay.
okay,
Like it's okay to set the payment plan up. And so for my third book, Driven, fight for what they said you couldn't have. It's like it's a sport biography. I'm descript telling everybody what I did in football. That project altogether was like $2,500. So but coming out of playing ball, I actually took a break between before I went back to play, right before I released it. But I was working for a moving company, which I still work for today.
hmm,
And like I was using the money for that to put towards my book. Well, like I said, like if people really, I believe that God will cause people to come into your sphere of influence, or come into your sphere that will use their money, power, and their influence to help you get to the purpose that God has placed on your life. And so if you want, like I wanted to be a great speaker, and I wanted to produce an awesome book, at that moment. And so with that being said, my editor, she was like, so I sat down, had a meeting with her. Now mind you, she has 20 plus years as working with the newspaper as chief editor, and she owns her own magazine, you
wow,
know. And so Miss Wilson, Dorothy Wilson, she is a phenomenal person. She is awesome. And so I sat down with her, and she said, okay, this is what we're gonna do, this is all we're gonna do. And I said, okay, Miss Dorothy, how much all this gonna cost? I need to know, because in my mind I need to prepare to
yeah,
budget whatever. And so she looked at me and she said, don't worry about it, I want to
wow,
bless you. you know and I'm looking like, what? You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh my goodness. Like, oh,
wow,
you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it wasn't because I came in there humble. I came in there ready to pay.
yeah,
See, another thing that you gotta understand, like you can't come in and expect somebody to give you something. No, you
right,
gotta expect to pay. And even if they don't charge you, like that was a blessing. Like it, her alone, $4,000 or $5,000 easy. You know what I mean? On top of the
yeah,
2,500. You know what I'm saying?
wow,
And so for her to do that, that was like, oh wow. I came expecting ready to pay to set up my payment plan, and she was like, no, I want to bless you. And I was like, oh my God. She said, just take care of everybody that I connect you with to help me do my book. Bet
yeah,
I got it. And so I cool. Did I
yeah,
have all the money I did? No, I didn't. But like I said again, I budgeted. Like, okay, I got this is what they gave me the prices for all this stuff. And when they needed half, I had to have, because I knew that God was gonna send me a return. As long as I stay faithful to what I said I was gonna do. When you stay faithful to the plan that God has given you, He is going to make sure that people use their power, money, and influence to help you.
all
And
right,
so that's what it is. and I was able to get my website done. I was able to create a book trailer that looks like a movie trailer for
Yeah.
the book, and I was able to pay my web designer, my editor, the other editor that helped. I was able to pay everybody, you know, and
Yeah.
it turned out to be amazing, you know. But that's just what it was. Like, it transferred over to, like, I was ready to pay. I got out the mentality of trying to lowball people. I just was like, okay, what do you cost? Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna look for the best price for what I
Right.
want.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I let go of the mentality of trying to get something for free,
Yeah.
you know. And because a lot of times when you give people for free, they don't give you their best. They just give you the leftover.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, I know I'm worthy to get your best. I want your best. If I'm gonna give you my best, you know,
Yeah.
even if I'm blessing you, I'm gonna give you my best. But if you paying me, of course I'm gonna give you you paying me. Why would I give you trash? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I try to do everything as unto God and not as unto man. So with that being said, I'm gonna always put my best foot forward. So that's what I did, and that's one thing that you have to take away with it. Don't expect to get a handout.
Yeah.
Expect to pay for
Yeah.
quality. Pay
For
for
quiet.
quality.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, that's great stuff, man. Um, so I guess we're toward the end here, and so
Okay.
as I kind of mentioned before, I wanted guys to kind of know, what about the books you mentioned. So, and I'm gonna put this link down below on my YouTube channel, but BryantLavender.com. There's a forward slash or backslash, uh,
Um,
backslash
you can
shop, or is it?
shop. Yeah, that's where they can get the book. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where they can get the book. But if they go to the website, they'll be able to see it, and so go to BryantLavender.com and click on shop, and then it'll show you all the books that I have available. From the newest to the oldest, which is the newest one is Finding My Way Back.
Hmm.
Then this Driven Fight for What They Said You Couldn't Have, Sweet Asylum, and the last one is Mine on the Pigskin.
Yep.
Also, Finding My Way Back and Driven is I got them released as an audiobook as well. So if you don't read, but you like to listen to book, you can listen on I have it on Audible and I have it on Kindle as well. So I have the paperback, the electronic version, and the audio version of Driven and Finding My Way Back only. Um, so if you want to take a listen and check me out, do that. I appreciate it.
Definitely check this guy out. Check him out. And then, like I said, towards the end, and you, like I said, you've touched on some of the stuff, but just kind of again give a synopsis of what you're doing now. I mean, everything from speaking to books. Just
Okay.
let it all out.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a speaker, a motivational speaker and author. I choose to be a spark plug to catapult people into their purpose so they can be the best themselves. I use the where, how, where method, where I was, how God intervened, and where I am now. And it's just to give people a gauge on it's okay where you are. You know where you want to go. Okay,
Hmm.
how you gonna let God intervene to help you get to where you're gonna get to? Because as humans, we choose to try to take control of everything, but there's some things that we can't control. You
Right.
know, like in the game, you can't control everything that happens.
Yep.
Like when you in basketball, you come down the court, you pass it to your friend, perfect pass. He caught the ball just right, elbow up, lined up with the goal, and he shoot it, and it felt good. But he can still, just like
Yeah.
linebacker, you come through the hole, is you shoot through the hole, you finna get the sack on the quarterback, but the quarterback already gave the ball away.
Right. Right.
It doesn't work and so just take it and stride it and push through. Like that's the only thing that I say. And all my books, I hit a whole bunch of categories. My first two books are poetry books. My
Hmm.
third one is a sport biography, and the last one is a urban fiction, book. And so it's interesting. It just all different forms, but I just do what God told me to do, and that's what happens. And so be looking out for some new projects I got coming up this year. I have two projects that I know should be two new book projects that should be done this year, or uh, so I'm excited about those things, and excited for greatness. 2021. Look, I said this yesterday on a post. I said 2020 stopped us from going a lot of places, but thank God He gave us a mind that could take us everywhere. And and so So you know, everything that you know that happened in 2020, yes, it wasn't ideal. It
Yeah.
was not. And praying for the families that, you know, that lost people to COVID, that got COVID, praying for healing. Understand that if God gave you a dream, you had a whole year to incubate those dreams that you had. I know He revived some of them. And I
Yeah.
said, and 2020 is showtime. Let's
Yeah.
go. Show me what's
Let's have
up.
it,
You
man.
know, so it's go time. So
Awesome. Well, man, I appreciate all your time today. I appreciate the nuggets that you had to share, and definitely look forward to just following you and seeing you do great things, man.
thank you. Appreciate you for having me. Mr. Brown, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you take care, and I'll guess check you out later.
All right.
Yep. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.